This video is sponsored by Moonshot Games. When you combine space exploration, high-stakes PvP combat, and a whole lot of shenanigans, you get Wildgate. But what actually is Wildgate? Well, it is my pleasure to answer that question, because I had the privilege of being invited to fly out to sunny California to take a look at an early build of it. And then I got sick, so no travel for me, but at least I still got to play the game from home. So what is it and how do you play it? Wildgate is a team-based multiplayer shooter where you take control of one of their prospectors to take to space in your very own ship. At the time of recording, we could unlock a total of 4 different ships and 5 prospectors, all of which have their own strengths and weaknesses. But don't think of this as a hero shooter per se. All these characters might have their own passive abilities, but every single one of them has access to the same repertoire of weapons and gadgets from which you can build your loadout. And then, the way to win in Wildgate is to find, claim, and escape with the artifact, or be the last one standing. And to make that happen, you get to use a lot of different toys. Toys which you can find by completing a variety of different challenges at a variety of different points of interest. These vary in difficulty as well as quality of rewards and often feature different modifiers to make them more difficult, like disabling your HP regen or draining your oxygen at an accelerated pace. But they are so worth it. Once you get to replace the pea shooters on your vessel with a quad cannon, you'll be happy you made the detour, but of course there's more to this game than brute force. You can also find a lot of different modules to enhance your ship's capabilities, all of which you plug into hardpoints scattered around the inside of said ship. There's a lot of them to go around, so don't be shy about picking up those modules. And that's already it for basics. Complete POIs, upgrade your ship, and find the artifact. Oh, I guess there's also other players you have to deal with. You know what? Why don't I just show you what a round of Wildgate actually looks like? I invited my friends Birdie, Echo, and Mifu to join me on my spacefaring adventures, so let's find out if we can combat our competition and escape with the artifact. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wildgate. To be successful in the Reach, you need to make sure that everyone on your team knows what they have to do. With all of us being new to the game, it was even more important to assign roles, just that not everyone was happy with their field of expertise. Okay, Birdie stays on the ship with Mifu. Echo and I were out and about boarding shit.
Of course, yeah. Leave all the military on the ship, that's fine.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, this is, I'm feeling some discrimination.
You're literally ex-Air Force, like there's no one better to stay on the ship than you guys.
That is so prejudice. This is more like a Navy job.
In fairness, Birdie's character has the ability to see enemy prospectors through walls whilst on our vessel, and Mifu's character can repair 2 points of damage at a time, so really, it was all about playing to our advantages. On the note of which, you might notice that we are not playing on the basic ship. This, my friends, is a Bastion, currently the only ship in the game that comes with fortified doors, meaning they can only be opened from the inside. But a ship is nothing without its crew, and its crew is nothing without resources, so as the 3 of them want to complete a POI, I decided to start the match by flying around and harvesting materials. Red space rocks can be broken down to fuel your ship's boost, and the blue ones cool down your core, basically repairing its damage. Once I was done harvesting, I decided to help the boys complete the POI and bring back the loot, though it didn't take long for the lobby to get shaken up. Artifact found already?
Ready, should we just leave? Wildgate's 4%, I'm not worried about it.
You know what? Yeah, they're just gonna put a target on the back. If other people scramble, we can loot up. Mifu was making a good point. Whilst holding the artifact is the de facto win condition, the gate would not open for quite some time, making an extraction impossible. The best thing we could do now would be to continue looting up for the fight ahead, giving me a chance to talk about points of interest. As mentioned earlier, there's a great variety of them on the map, and each of them houses different challenges. From simple puzzles to escort missions, all the way to the classic take out whatever lurks inside. You can definitely keep busy trying to complete these. And whilst you can get useful items from every single one of them, the pinnacle of challenge and loot is the monolith. These POIs usually hold some of the hardest challenges in the game, but also reward some of the best weapons you can get your hands on. As for us, we were playing with a low loot modifier in our lobby, meaning that stumbling upon one such weapon, even in a monolith, was not guaranteed. But we had a secret weapon. Mifu's character has the ability to turn items into different items at random, so even on a low loot modifier, he can still take that basic equipment and gamble it for the chance of getting something really good. But we couldn't rely on that alone, so we did make sure to take some time to grab not just equipment but also resources from around our area. It didn't take long for the first vessel to fall in combat. It was obvious that some prospectors were more antsy than others to get their hands on that artifact, but that didn't bother us none, well, at least until we heard this.
Vault opened.
Yes, so the Vault is another one of those high difficulty rating POIs, though they only spawn with a Vault modifier active in your game. That means that somebody out there got their hands on something good, and all we could do now was hope that it wasn't a massive gun. Though Echo did make sure to give them some trouble when collecting their goodies, because whilst we were collecting fuel, he went out towards the Vault to try and steal something from it. Unfortunately, that mission failed, and with the timer being halfway done, we had little choice but to engage the vessel before they got even more time to loot up. Now, you would think that the rest of the lobby would be on the same page about trying to take out Team Yellow, since, you know, they're the ones holding the artifact. Sadly, the red team disagreed. While we were trying our darndest to stop Team Yellow from taking the crown, we had no choice but to fend off attacks from both remaining teams. It's in moments like these I wish the game had proximity chat, but alas, my guns would have to do the talking. As well as our cannons, even though Team Red was being a thorn in our side, we managed to put enough pressure on Team Yellow to push them towards the edge of the map. I made sure to focus fire on their cannons to disable them, and that strategy was bearing fruit. But you know what they say, you mess with the bull, you're gonna deal with the horns.
He teleported back from top
It's repaired.
There's one coming from behind right now.
How do they have so much time to board us?
because I can just keep hitting the repair button. Someone's on board.
You guys have the intruder?
I'm on cannon with you.
Another one, another one, another one.
There's a Mott's behind us at the top of the ship.
I don't see him.
Somebody's on top, be careful. Somebody's on top.
No, no one's on top right now. I can't see him.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
If they're on top, I will be able to see them. I can't see anyone. Now he's on top, on the right.
Can you guys go out and shoot this guy?
I can't. We need to pressure on this. We need cannon pressure on these guys.
Moff's dead.
Get back on wheel, please.
Keep shooting the rear cannons so they can't fire back. They're so close. Give it to them.
3, 2, yes!
Break, 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 break.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Oh my god. Reverse, reverse! Alright, that's not bad.
Echo, Echo, go grab it. Go grab it quick. A little bit of context, when a spaceship blows up, you don't want to be anywhere near it because you as well as your own vessel will take massive damage. Additionally, anything that was on them can now be yours, including resources, ship upgrades, as well as their core. Installing a ship's core to a hardpoint of yours will increase your own ship's durability, but obviously we were a bit more concerned with the artifact at that time. The red team was right on our heels as we finished the job, making a retrieval operation very difficult. I wanted to make sure they can't commit too many resources to snatching the artifact, but most of them were already off the ship by the time I got there. I could do some damage to them, sure, but my time was rather short-lived. And before we knew it, both of our ships were directly facing each other in a massive standoff for the artifacts. We need to keep firing. We can't not fire.
He's on the hull, he's on the hull.
Bird down.
They're moving. They have the artifact. They're moving.
He's just
They're gonna
on
win.
On top of us, guys, in the ship. On
Tractor,
the,
tractor,
on the,
tractor.
On the helm.
Do we have a tractor?
There's this person on the ship.
We don't have anything to stop them.
We have a tractor, don't we?
Everyone has the board. We can't be on our ship. Yep. Our ship does not matter. They just get off their ship. They're just shooting us. They're just shooting us. That was close.
That was so close. Looking back at the footage, I'm fairly certain that somebody must have stolen the tractor beam we picked up at the start of the game. If we still had it, we could have pulled the ship away from the gate, but alas, could've, should've, would've doesn't win us the game. But we weren't about to give up. No, the playtest was very short and half our team had to bounce, but that gave us an opportunity to run into somebody from Moonshot Games. That's right, we get to play with actual developers and team members from the studio that made this game, and that was an opportunity we weren't going to miss out on. Will from Moonshot Games taught us the importance of using our scout drone to make sure we don't get run up on by somebody out of nowhere, instead being the one that does the running up. This time I was playing as Moths, the mischievous little owl-moth hybrid that can turn invisible when on a spaceship. That, in combination with a shotgun, turned out to be a very powerful combination that I'm sure is going to be nerfed before you get your hands on the game. But I was on an absolute tear, feeling like I found my calling as a designated boarder and troublemaker. We actually ended up winning our first fight fairly easily as a result of that, allowing us to loot whatever these guys had on their vessel. All of their upgrades and resources now belong to us, but we didn't get to enjoy that for very long because another ship decided to join the fun. It was apparent that this team had better cannons than us, so I decided to go for a cheeky play. After assassinating whoever was on the vessel, I made an attempt to steal one of their cannons and teleport back to my ship before any of them respawned. And I mean, if it worked once, surely it would work again, right? Because it did. Bit by bit, I was ridding them of every single one of their cannon upgrades, putting it on our ship instead, but eventually they did wisen up to what I was doing, using one of their upgrades to barbecue me before I could get on. Suddenly, we were in a tricky position. Both of our vessels were facing each other head on, and let's just say that theirs was a little healthier than ours. The only thing keeping them from full sending it was the fact that I had removed most of their cannon upgrades, so even though we were hurting, we could still pack a punch. But I did notice that they were trying to get closer because they still had a scatter cannon, which at this stage will be devastating to us. So of course, I did what I had to do. I focused fire on that turret to disable it before hopping out of our ship to spare them a visit once more. I had to assassinate several of their members, and quickly, knowing full well that once the rest of them were aware of my presence, I was not going to be able to steal a dang thing. But ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I tried to replace one of our quad cannons with a scatter variant to give them a taste of their own medicine, but before we could use it, that entire section of our ship was destroyed because another ship had joined the fray. Something that, to me, was extremely stressful, but of course, Will wasn't even shaken.
I think we honestly run because these two are going to fire each other soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ninja, you're fire. You're on fire.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's just be happy we survived this. His relaxed attitude honestly helped the rest of us not freak out in that moment. I mean, okay, whether I win this match or not, Moonshot Games is still paying me to make this video, but I really wanted to win this round. Anyway, just to make sure we are not followed, we did make sure to take shots at the other ships on our way out, because now we had a mission. Open the ancient vaults. Much like a monolith, this is going to give us a good chance of some very powerful upgrades. Our team had found the key to the vault on the way, but completing this POI is not an easy task. We had to deal with very powerful AI enemies on top of a low oxygen modifier that pretty much glued us to the air vents around the arena. And to make matters worse, we got visitors. Yeah, in our attempt to clear this POI as fast as possible, we didn't notice that another ship had parked right next to us and was about to light us up. Honestly, them going into the vault and taking us out was the best way to warn us of their presence, but still, we now somehow had to deal with that onslaught. Not to mention, the ship that attacked us had the artifact on board. It seemed like they weren't keen on waiting for the gate to open, instead trying to win by being the last one standing. A bold move for sure, considering we were not going down without a fight. But neither were they, and every attempt of snatching the artifact from their ship resulted in my inevitable demise. Eventually, we realized that we were running out of time. Even if they can't just take us out once the gate is open, all they have to do is get within range of it to win the match. So all of us went for a mad dash to try and stop that from happening. Will had grabbed the artifact out of a pile of equipment with his dying breath, tossing it over to me. I was now our last hope, the last man on their vessel. If I can't get out with it, yeah, and then I got shot down. All of us were desperately trying to stop them from reaching the gate, but once our enemies realized that wiping the lobby was not going to work for them, they full-sended into the gate and thus ended up victorious. These were some really close matches, and for never having played Wildgate before, I was actually quite happy with how we performed. But what do you guys think? Do you want us to join the next playtest to see if we can finally snatch that #1 spot? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you want to try Wildgate for yourself, you can sign up to join the next community preview simply by following the link in the description below, or go to wildgate.gg/CliffTheStoryGuy. A heartfelt thank you to Moonshot Games and Dreamhaven for sponsoring this video, as well as giving me the opportunity to get my hands on Wildgate early. With that said, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you in the Reach.
Watch out, don't stand in front of that thing.
No, I want to learn the hard way. Okay.
Bernie, what the hell?
I wanted to see how quickly it would kill me.